Hey, financial besties. What's up, besties? How you doing? How you been? Shout out to my channel members. I see y'all running it up in the comments already. Love to see it. Love to see it. Shout out to my channel members, the besties and the VIP besties. VIP besties, I will see you right after this public live stream. We will have our private live stream. Shalonda, you outside tonight? Okay, so you're not going to be in the private live stream. That's all right. I'll see you in the Sister Circle Mastermind. I've been dropping gems. I've been dropping gems in the community. Make sure you check in with your sisters in the mastermind. But if you're joining me live and you haven't already, I'm seeing the money babies before I even ask for them. I love it. If you are joining me live and you haven't already, please drop some money babies in the chat. Let me know where you are today and how you're feeling. Let me know how you're feeling. I ask y'all how you doing, how you been, because I really want to know how you're feeling. Let me know. And if you're watching the replay, come and replay game, just so I'll know you were here. I love that you catch the replay even when you can't join me live, but I don't always know that you watch the replay unless you leave a comment. Leave a comment. I respond to all of them. But what are we talking about today? Today, I want to talk about what prompted this topic. Y'all see the video topic, the title. Oh, I was watching a video, Ramit Sethi of I Will Teach You to Be Rich. He did a video on the lie about FIRE, financially independent, retire early. He shared several problems he has with the FIRE movement. Some I actually agree with, especially the extreme frugality that runs rapid in the FIRE community, how they normalize extreme frugality and scrimping and saving every dime and every penny and delaying joy because they're pursuing this pie in the sky. That's kind of how it seems when you see people limiting their lives to reach this number. I'm not about that life. I was never about that life. And every client that has been coached by me, no, I'm not about that life for them either. And that is not the guidance that I provide. But I'll link Ramit's video in the description box, the problem with the FIRE movement. But I also wanted to expand on some of the things he shared and share some of my own thoughts. I want to talk about it. Is FIRE a lie? How much money do you really need to be free? And I want to talk about it from that angle because I've met with so many of you in private sessions, and a common concern that I hear is around two things. I hear the more seasoned besties say, I want to retire, but I don't think I will ever be able to. Because you think you don't have enough. And the other concern I hear is usually from the besties a little younger than me or around my age. They say they want to pursue FIRE, but they don't think they will ever be able to achieve that number because once they did the calculation, it was so high. It was so high. And it just didn't seem like it was something they would ever be able to achieve. And what I find is that by the end of our session, the relief they have, the clarity they have, the light bulb moments they have, It relieves so much pressure and it helps them to realize that financial independence is possible. If you want to retire early, and I consider early retirement technically is retirement before the traditional retirement age as established by the United States, which is what, about 65? But I consider early retirement retiring in your 50s or sooner, retiring in your 50s or younger. And that's because you have to intentionally prepare financially for this gap between when you decide to stop working and when you are able to draw from your traditional retirement funds. So anything between that gap is early retirement, based on my definition. But let's talk about it. How much do you really need to be free? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. How much do you think you need before you can consider yourself free? And oh, by the way, another concern that I hear, it's not a frequent concern, but I hear it occasionally. There are people who have the funds to retire, but still don't retire because they want to work one more year or they feel like it's not enough. They got to put a little more in their investment accounts. So that's not a common concern, but I do hear that one sometimes too. And this video may be helpful to you too. But I want to talk about that. That's where I'm coming from in this video with you all. But before we get started, y'all know I got to introduce myself for the new besties in the house that wants to join us and have fun with us every Friday night. But if you're new to me, hey girl, hey. My name is Malika. I'm a money coach and I'm the founder of Fabulous Financials. My financial journey began as a single mom on welfare. And I was on welfare for almost 10 years. But after learning how to invest in the stock market, I achieved financial freedom, retired in my 40s. And if you watch my last video, you know I recently moved abroad. Clock it. On welfare for almost 10 years and still achieve freedom. So I dare you to say you can't. But now I'm on a mission to help more Black women learn how to invest in the stock market. And more specifically, what I do in my coaching program is I teach Black women strategy. I teach Black women strategy to build 6- and 7-figure portfolios with ease. Baby, we snatch our reparations from the market. And some of my clients have become millionaires because investing is not as complicated as the finance bros make it seem. I promise you it ain't. But if you subscribe to my channel, you'll see what I mean. And if you want to become a client, the link to apply is in the description of this video. Welcome, new bestie. And let me say hello to my current besties in the house. Let me say hello to my OGs that I'm seeing in the comments. What's up, Miss Eileen Brown? How you doing? How you been? You were first in the chat. I think I missed you last week. Where you been? I always notice when you're gone. What's up, Shalonda with the money babies? You're going to catch the replay. You in the streets. You in them DC streets. Nina Grimler, what's up, girl? Am I going to see you in the private live stream after this one? I hope so. Ooh, and I love it when you share the money babies in the chat. I love it when you share the money babies in the chat. What's up, Sabine P? What's up, L? What's up, Tanya Brooks? What's up, Miss Greta King? What's up, Dominique Trammell? What's up, Tammy? What's up, Marsha? What's up, Style by Chrissy? That's a new name. Welcome, friend. Welcome, friend. What's up, Jametta? It's good. Yes, it is morning where I am. It is morning. But good evening to all of you in the United States. You're watching from Philadelphia. Okay. I love the money babies. Hey, Michelle Thompson. Let's see. Yes, I said hello to everyone. I'm so glad y'all here. And I see you dropping your numbers in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. How much money do you need to feel free? How much money do you need to feel free? Style by Christy says she needs at least $1 million dollars in an investment fund generating at least 13% in dividends. Okay. Okay. Oh, you were in Tulsa. Okay, for your husband's family reunion. I hope you had fun. I hope you had fun. I love Tulsa. I was in Tulsa this year. Shalonda, when did we go to Tulsa? So I started my year, I spent Q1 in Latin America. I spent Q2 doing a tour of the United States. Y'all know I'm trying to visit all 50 states before I turn 50. I'm up to state 49, and then I left. But I was in Tulsa a couple of months ago in the springtime in Q2, and I love that city. I love that city. Tulsa is still very Black and still very thriving. I love it. Hope you have fun. Eileen, you need a minimum of 20K, but because I plan on having an online business, at least 10K. Okay, so that's a wide range. What I'm seeing so far, one person said they need at least 10K plus their business, and another person said they need a million plus 13% of their portfolio paying in dividends. Okay, that's a wide range. So let's talk about it. How much do you really need to be free? Oh, but before we get into the topic, a few announcements. VIP channel members, I will meet you right after this live stream in our private live stream. The link is on the channel member community tab. I did not post an updated one, but it's the same link that you use every single month. So join me by clicking that link as soon as I log off here. Second thing I wanted to share, I would be remiss if I did not address this at all, but I know you are all excited about what's happening in our country. I know you are all excited about the shift in the wind. The replacement. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I bring that up because there's some things I've seen on social media and I want to address up front right out the gate because of the colors in my branding. The colors that I use for my business. I use pink and green because I love pink. Pink is my favorite color. I use green because I'm a money coach. Green represents money. The two colors complement one another, and I think they're beautiful together. However, I am not an AKA. I do not claim to be an AKA. I do not use these colors because I'm trying to represent AKA. Are we clear? I don't want nobody coming for me. Are we clear? I love y'all. I love all of the D9. I have a lot of you in my family, but I was never ever privileged to join your divine organization. And I also don't attempt to imitate you either. These are just my brand colors because I love the color combo. All right? Yes, wanted to make that clear. One other thing I wanted to address with that is I love the unity that I'm seeing. I love the ground roots donations, the unity on the calls. It started with Black women. Black women knew what was necessary, and Black women inspired everyone else to jump on the bandwagon. I love to see it. I love to see it. Then Black men followed, and then white women followed. And I'm hearing white men asking, when is our turn? They're ready to step up. They're ready to contribute their dollars to the cause. I love to see it. However, Black women, I want you to first and foremost be proud of what you've done. It is not unusual. You always do it. You always do it. You always take charge. You always fix things. You always make things better for everyone. The time between now and November, it's going to be an uphill battle. Even though we're seeing the unity, you know the other side is going to respond with a lot of nastiness. You know they are going to drag our good sis for filth. You know there are going to be things said about you, about her, about us, and we've seen some of it already. Calling us colored already. We've seen some of it already. I want you to brace yourself. I want you to brace yourself, and most importantly, I want you to protect your peace. You are not the workhorse for this country. When you feel yourself feeling emotional distress because of what you're seeing on the internet, on the news, in the media, turn it off. Turn it off. Close your laptop. Close your phone. Turn on some gospel music. Meditate. Do whatever it is that you do to ground yourself. But Black women, while you are taking charge, while you are going to make sure that our good sis, Madam President Kamala Harris, becomes reality, I want you to be aware of the reality that we exist in. Even though there's unity, the root, the fabric of our country has not changed. So brace yourself and protect your peace. All right? That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah. So last announcement, I have been wanting to start doing videos on this new phase of my life. I feel like I have so much more to share that may be helpful to you that's not specifically finance related. Everything we do in life, our finances touch it. So everything will touch some area of personal finance. But there are other things that I want to share that are more so focused on freedom after financial independence, the freedom after early retirement, like me living abroad now, or I don't know if I want to call it living abroad, being a digital nomad now. I have finally come to terms with that title, and that is what I am. But the travel, my lifestyle, some of the challenges that I face. I know a lot of people think, oh, once I have money, then things will be better. Or, oh, once I achieve this goal, then I can move abroad and everything will be great. Or once I do this next thing, whatever you feel like you don't have, then you think everything will be great on the other side. That's not always true, because you take you with you everywhere you go. And every level you ascend, if you don't address the root issues that you struggled with in the level before, you're taking those same issues with you. And I have officially been retired now for 2 years. And I have experienced things over the past 2 years that I didn't expect, because I was so focused on the number, on the goal, on the financial aspect of it. And I don't see too many people talking about the life on the other side of freedom. Every day is not a 10. I was about to say every day is not great. That's a lie, because it is. There's nothing that isn't great about being free. But every day is not a 10. And I want to share more of real life, more of what you can expect after you achieve whatever financial goal that you have. I want to keep it separate from the Friday night live stream. That's more finance focused, still on the same channel, but on a different day. I haven't decided like what day yet, because I don't want to commit to doing it weekly like I do the Friday night live stream, because I don't want it to feel forced, and I don't want my YouTube to start feeling like a job. Like I have a schedule. I have to do this day, that day, this time, that time. I don't want it to feel like that. I want it to flow easily. I want it to feel like I'm sharing from my heart, and I'm sharing things that will help the women that watch me. And I want that to all be done from a place of joy. So with that said, I'm on the other side of the world. So I can't commit to a time that may be convenient for you. I may pop on while you're sleeping. And if you're up and you decide to join me, that'll be great. But if you catch the replay, that's cool too. But I'm going to add another day of videos to the channel. Friday night will stay Friday night. We're talking exclusively about money. The other day, which will probably be Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to pop on and we're just going to talk about life. We're going to talk about life after financial independence. We're going to talk about travel. We're going to talk about just life in general, what it's like to live abroad, what it's like to live where I am now, and wherever I may go next. So starting next week, you will start seeing 2 videos from me a week, one in addition to the Friday live stream. I may do it at the same time, but I'm not going to commit to a time. I may decide to hit record one day when it's 2 in the afternoon for me. That'll be 2 a.m. on East Coast time. But anyway, starting next week, you'll get 2 videos from me. I want to share more about real life that's in addition to the money. So I hope you'll join me. Is that something that you will be interested in? Let me know in the chat. But let's get into the topic. Let me see what you all have said about. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chrissy. Green is money and pink is femininity. Yes, exactly. That's the way I see it as well. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Edith. Thank you. Yes, Jametta, you do what you got to do. Protect your peace. Protect your peace. If you feel an ounce of emotional distress, while things are good right now, the strategy is coming together, the plan is coming together. I love it. I have some thoughts on the timing of Uncle Joe stepping to the side. I'll share that probably on the Wednesday video. But the strategy is coming together and I love it. But we know the roots of our country, and we know their response is not going to be professional. It's not going to be polite. So when it happens, if you feel anything that is not joy, mute your TV. Thank you, Jametta. Mute your TV, close the app. Yes. Eileen says she's been doing a detox. Yes, doing a detox. All right. Oh, we got some men in the house. Okay, that's unusual, but you're welcome to. You're welcome to watch. Welcome. Dominique. All right, cool beans. Looking forward to the second video. We'll hang out on another night. Oh, Nina, you're so sweet. Hanging out with me is always a pleasure. It's so sweet. Even though I give you a hard time in the private live stream. Even though I give you a hard time in the private live streams. Okay, all right. Janetta said she would definitely be interested. Okay, I will see you all for next week. Um, we will do Wednesday. Next week we will do Wednesday. I'll let you know later about the time. All right. Let me pull up my notes here. So let's talk about it. How much money do we really need to be free? Y'all know the regular calculation for your fire number. If you don't, I'll go over it again really quickly. See you, Nina. So to calculate your regular fire number, your traditional fire number, you take your monthly expenses. So you got to know how much you're spending every month. If you don't know how much you're spending every month, download an app. Download a finance app and just track your expenses for the month. So it's July 26th. So starting on August 1st, if you don't know how much you spend every month, not you have an idea, you have a guesstimate. If you don't know how much you spend every month, download an app and start tracking your expenses for the whole month. Track everything, every dime, every dollar, to give you an idea how much your monthly expenses are. But you take your monthly expenses, you multiply by 12 to get your annual expenses, and then you multiply that number by 25 to get your FIRE number, financially independent to retire early. The traditional rule of thumb says that's what you need in invested assets in order to be prepared to retire early. And it needs to be in invested assets because money makes money babies. So when your money is invested in the stock market and it's making money babies, it outpaces how much you can spend. So that rule of thumb is based on a formal study. It was called the Trinity Study. It was done by two finance guys. I forgot what university it was from, but they did this elaborate study, and it was traditionally used for traditional retirement to make sure that you have enough money to live on for at least 30 years. The FIRE movement kind of picked up the idea and re-examined the philosophy, re-examined the calculation, and determined that it will apply to early retirees as well, as long as you're invested in the stock market and your money is making money babies and multiplying on its own. And that is true because I have not worked since May 2022. So I've been out of work for 2 years now. My portfolio grows more than the salary that I earned when I was working. And in addition to that, what I spend is substantially less than the amount that it grows. So there is truth and there is validity in the traditional calculation. But what if I told you that number may not be the freedom number for you? Let's talk about how much money you really need to be free. All right? That traditional calculation, it applied to me because I was in my 30s when I started calculating the number, and I was already thinking about retiring early in my 30s. So pursuing that number was important to me because I wanted the freedom to be able to walk away from my job before traditional retirement age. And by the time I left my job, I had a gap of over a decade that I needed money for. I needed a safety net. I needed invested assets that I could pull from to fill a gap of about 12 years before I get to traditional retirement age. So I've been retired now for 2 years. So I still have a gap of 10 years that I needed to provide for myself because I don't have recurring income. And also there's 10 years between where I am now and when I will be eligible to start drawing from my traditional retirement accounts. But what if you are not in your 30s? What if you are not Like me, and at the time when I was planning, I also wasn't planning to move abroad. These are things that I decided to do much, much later. It was not part of my retirement plan. Y'all always know I reserve the right to change my mind. When I make decisions, I reserve the right to change my mind. But these were not part of my plans. So I calculated my number and I pursued a number based on where I was living, which was in the Washington, D.C. area, high cost of living area. And I envisioned my life in Washington, D.C. And if not Washington, D.C., somewhere that was comparable to the quality of life in Washington, D.C., and as a result, probably just as expensive, right? So, the first thing I want you to consider when you are thinking about what is a freedom number for you, how much money do you really need for you to be free? I want you to think about how much will your expenses be where you plan to live in retirement. So when you're running that fire number, you're taking your monthly expenses, multiplying by 12 and multiplying by 25. That's what you will need to live where you are right now. So if you are in your 50s and you're planning to move abroad already for retirement, you already know that. Or even if you're in your 30s and your 40s, and because of what's happening in the United States, you know you're not going to live there. You have more foresight than I did. You know you're leaving the United States, for example. What are the expenses based on where you're planning to live in retirement? And that's so important for you to consider your freedom number because that can make a substantial difference in how much you need to be free. My number was based on living in DC, where I'm currently living right now in Southeast Asia, specifically in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which is on the higher end of, no, I won't say that. Well, it's on the higher end of the Southeast Asian countries. I was about to say it's on the higher end of Asian countries, and I thought about Japan and Singapore. No, it's not. It's not that expensive. But in terms of Southeast Asian countries, Singapore is the most expensive. I would say Malaysia is probably second in line. It's not as cheap as Thailand. It's not as cheap as Cambodia. It's not as cheap as Vietnam. It's not as cheap as Indonesia. But it's significantly cheaper than Washington, D.C. So the amount of money that I planned to live on in Washington, D.C., I don't need anywhere near as much as that. Now, I don't need anywhere near as much as that. So when you are trying to estimate how much money you need to be free, estimate it based on your expenses, where you plan to live in retirement. All right. The second thing I want you to consider, before I move on to the second thing, I see a question. Hey, Chanel. Hey, Chanel. Hey, girl. Hey. I see you're on my calendar to meet this month, too. I look forward to talking with you. Can you explain the significance of the 25 number? Yes, that was part of the Trinity study. And what they were doing, how can I say this succinctly? What they were doing is they were trying to do these different simulations to determine how long the money will last in a traditional 30-year retirement. And based on those simulations, it was determined that the 4% withdrawal rate, if your money is invested in the stock market and earning the average 10% or more, right? When you get to traditional retirement age, you will be able to withdraw 4% from that portfolio and you will never run out of money. That was the traditional rule of thumb, the traditional train of thought. If the money is invested, because your money is compounding and growing faster than you can spend it, if you withdraw no more than 4%, it is understood that your money will outlast you. So in order to back into that number based on the 4%, withdrawal rate, the calculation is multiplying your annual expenses times 25. So that's the backwards way of getting to that number in order to draw down 4% every year. Does that make sense? It's just the backwards way of backing into the number because the study was based on withdrawing 4% annually. Okay? You're never late, Chanel. You're never late. You're always right on time. And yes, I will see you soon in your private session. But the second thing, you're welcome. You're welcome. The second thing I want you to think about when you are determining how much money you really need, and I'm emphasizing you because this is about you. Everything when it comes to personal finance, when you're watching finance creators or finance influencers, I want you to understand, and that includes me, I want you to understand that a lot of the information is generalized information because we're trying to reach the masses. But when you are thinking about how to apply that information to you, to your life, I want you to think about your unique circumstances and consider those things when you're applying what you're learning, right? Because I'm just talking to the masses when I'm sharing information, but I don't know you. You're not my client. You're my financial bestie, but you're not my client. I don't know the details of your personal finances, right? So the second thing I want you to think about when you are trying to decide how much money do you really need to be free, I want you to consider if you expect to receive any other source of income in retirement, any other retirement income. So that includes a pension from your job. I know a lot of employers have done away with pensions, but if you are of a certain age, you may have been lucky and in that generation that's still receiving pensions. Are you expecting to receive any Social Security? Have you logged into the Social Security website to look at what your estimated Social Security payout will be? Right? And the reason why this is important is because when you are estimating what your monthly expenses are, the whole idea of the FIRE calculation is to determine how much money you need in invested assets to cover your monthly expenses. But if you have a source of income like a pension or even Social Security or some other source of income, let's say you married a rich man and y'all got divorced and now he has to pay you alimony for the rest of your life, that's a source of income that's going to cover some of your expenses. I want you to take that number that you're expecting to receive and subtract it. Subtract it from your estimated expenses. That is going to lower your number that's in the FIRE calculation. That is going to lower the number. So if your monthly expenses, for example, for me, my monthly expenses in Washington, D.C. were about $5,000 a month. If I had a really social month, it may have been closer to $6,000 a month. My monthly expenses where I am now barely touches $2,500 a month. So half. So if I was doing the calculation based on my DC expenses, I would have used $5,000, $6,000. But if I'm doing the calculation based on where I am now, I would use the $2,500. So that goes back to example number one. But if I also received a pension, I would subtract it from the $2,500. So let's say I was expecting to receive a pension of $500 and I expected my monthly expenses to be $2,500. Before doing that FIRE number calculation, I would subtract my $500 pension from my $2,500 expenses, and I would only use $2,000. Again, I only need to make up the difference. I only need to bridge the gap. If I have another reliable, steady source of income, like a pension coming in, I don't need to include that amount in my FIRE number. So we went from $6,000 to $2,500 to now $2,000. the number is getting smaller. So consider your unique circumstances, your needs when you're determining how much money you need to be free. Is anybody in the chat expecting to receive a pension or any other steady source of retirement income? Not income that you need to generate yourself. We'll talk about that next. But is anyone else expecting to receive a pension or steady source of reliable income in retirement? Let me know in the chat. Nina said you got to test your boundaries. you always testing me. I love it though. I love it. And you ask really, really good questions too in the group coaching and the private live streams, wherever we are. I love that. I love it when I see your name because I know you're going to come with the fire. Nina always testing me, y'all. You're going to get a pension. Okay. Oh, we got some pensioners in here. Look, if y'all getting a pension, y'all already millionaires. Y'all already millionaires. Shoot, getting those pensions for the rest of your life, girl. Yes. Y'all some pensioners. See, you don't need as much money as Malika in her 30s thought she needed, right? You are expecting a pension. Sabine said she is getting a pension from education. Nina said she is getting a pension. Multifaceted with SFB says she's getting a pension and disability. Okay. Michelle's getting a pension. Wow. A lot of you are getting pensions. Okay. Jametta, yes, just retired. Congratulations. Waiting on my pension to be processed and trying to decide whether to take Social Security now to before leaving the country. Okay. All right. We got another pension. Tanya Brooks getting a pension. Yes. Pension from the state. This is what I mean. So don't disregard the reliable source of income that you're going to have coming in. So you don't need to pursue this big number that's intimidating to you. You don't need that big number to be free. Oh, look, Chanel says she's jealous of y'all. I didn't expect so many to come up, to step up. Chanel says she's jealous. You don't need that big number to be free, right? So the first step, as a recap, calculate how much you think your monthly expenses will be where you're planning to retire, right? If you're planning to move abroad, there's all types of, even if you're not planning to move abroad, there's all types of websites where you can estimate the average cost of living. And I can't go any further than that because our cost of living is different for everyone, depending on your lifestyle and how you want to live, right? Like my cost of living here in Southeast Asia, it's not as low as what some people could come here and survive on. There's some people that come to Southeast Asia and live on like $1,000 a month. I can't. Even if I tried, I can't. Shoot, I spent, in fact, private live stream, VIP besties. I'm going to share with you my expenses so far in the first 30 days of living in Southeast Asia and how much I spent on food. Actually surprised me because it's true that food is cheap. And most people, when they're talking about Southeast Asia, all they talk about is how cheap the food is. Baby, based on how much I've spent on food, I had to double check where I was. But also keep in mind, I'm sure I've gained weight this week, so that would explain it too. That would explain it too, which is why I want to do a separate live stream to talk about my life because I really, really need to start prioritizing my health. But yeah, anyway, back on topic, focus. My point is, your lifestyles vary. So I didn't want to get into the details of, what you can expect in a lifestyle based on living in Colombia, living in Mexico, living in Thailand, because it all our quality of life, our standard of living, it varies for all of us. And I don't want to mislead you. I especially don't want to mislead you based on how much I spend. I know the majority of the people that live here on way less than what I've been spending. So I wouldn't try to provide a gauge for you. But the point is, estimate the cost of living based on where you plan to live in retirement. And then subtract the guaranteed, reliable sources of income, like a pension. I love that so many of you are expecting to receive a pension. That's amazing. So subtract that number. So that will lower your main number, your starting number when you're calculating your fire number, right? The third thing I want you to think about when you are deciding how much money you really need to be free. Food is one of my, yes. Yes, food is one of our biggest expenses. And I'm not even going to complain because I know I ain't going to do nothing about it. I do need to get better with the quality of food I choose. But in terms of how much I spend and where I choose to dine, that ain't going to change. Honey, I'm living my best life. I am not scrimping and saving and cutting back for nothing. It is what it is. But the third thing I want you to consider is, do you plan to continue generating income after you quit working? And when I say generating income, I mean something that's more passion driven, less stressful, less demanding, and hopefully less time consuming than the job that you're retiring from. Right? If so, have you run the numbers to see how much you can anticipate earning? Have you started generating income from that source already? Right? Have you started generating income from that source already? When I made the decision that I was going to leave my career, all of my friends were already encouraging me to start coaching. I did a video on how I came full circle and started coaching as a legitimate business. I was against it for a long, long time. I started doing this because a lot of you asked me to. And I've been loving it ever since. It does not feel like work. I have boundaries to make sure it will never feel like work, because the minute it does feel like work, I will quit. But if you have a way of creating income for yourself that does not feel like work, that is more enjoyable, there may be some parts of it that you don't like the back end admin stuff. I can't stand it. I can't do it. When a client schedules a call and making sure it's on the calendar and making sure my calendar reflects my availability and making sure the confirmation emails go out and the systems I need to do this and making sure the systems are talking to it. Girl, I did that and I was like, if I got to do this to run a business, I'm not doing it. And my coach said, girl, hire an admin to do that for you. I was like, oh, okay. So there will be some parts of your business that you don't like, but still generally a business you love. But as long as the majority of it is what you enjoy doing, make that money, friend. I think I get that from, who says that? Who said, I always like to give credit where it's due, but her voice is in my mind. She said, make that money, friend. So are you planning to generate any income after you quit working? I will add this caveat too. I created Fabulous Financials because it's something I really enjoy doing. I really feel like it's a divine assignment for me. I love the women that I've been able to touch. I love the people that I've been able to help, and I love observing your transformation and your growth over the years. I will not work with anyone that I do not enjoy working with. because doing this is not because I need the money, it's because I actually truly enjoy it. And I charge for it because my time is valuable. I will not get on the phone with anyone that does not pay me. So let's make that clear. I charge for it because my time is valuable, my knowledge is valuable, and I know I can transform lives. However, it's something I truly, truly enjoy, and I think it's a divine assignment. Will I do this forever? No. Will I do this for the next 5 years? I'm pretty sure because I can see myself doing it because I love it that much. 10 years, that's likely too. But when I get into my 60s, I don't know. When I get to traditional retirement age, mm, less likely. You see where I'm going with this? So if you are planning to retire and create an alternative source of income for yourself, doing something you love, by all means do that. But I also want you to consider, how long will you want to do that? How long will you want to do that? And when you are ready to stop doing it, will you have another source of income to fill the gap? So I shared number 3, so you will know that generating a source of income for yourself, doing something that you enjoy, that could also reduce your fire number calculation and get you to freedom, right? With the caveat of how old you are and the quality of life that you want to have. Do you want to commit time to doing whatever you need to do to generate that source of income while you're in your golden years? I don't. I'm still in my 40s. I still got energy. I still got time. I still got the mental capacity. But when I get into my later 50s and 60s, I don't know what that life is going to look like for me. Right? So I can't bet on still coaching into my 60s. So I have not structured my financial plan around the income that I generate from coaching. Because whenever I decide to walk away from this, I want the freedom to be able to do so. So keep that in mind when you're thinking long term. Creating another income generating source for yourself that you need to actively work to create, that's a short term solution. But I also want you to think long term on how you can turn that income source into passive income. Income that you do not have to actively exchange your time, your energy, your mental capacity to create. All right. But if you have a way to generate income for yourself, that also lowers your fire number, and that will get you closer to freedom without having to focus on that really, really big number. And the beauty of generating income for yourself, doing something that you enjoy, once you walk away from that traditional 9 to 5, you can still invest because you still have a source of income. So you can still invest as long as you are earning more than what you need, as long as you're earning more than your current expenses. The difference, that gap that you create between your income and your expenses, you can still invest that money. You can still invest it in retirement accounts because you have a source of income. But even if you didn't want to invest it in retirement, you can still invest it in your taxable brokerage account. So you're still contributing to your investments that are going to work for you long term when you decide to quit doing whatever business you want to create, whatever business that you love right now. But life has its seasons and everything comes to an end. So I always want you to be thinking long term. What are you going to do next? What is this source of income going to be in 5 years, 10 years, right? Before I go any further, let me check the comments so I can stay up to date with y'all. Sometimes I get a little behind. Let's see. Ooh, Arlene says she's in business. She's in school. Let's see. I'm currently in school for my new business, and next month we're starting the business side. And then I'll be able to determine what pricing I'll need to charge and how many work days for my new country. I love that, Eileen. Eileen has a plan. Eileen is not playing with us. Eileen was like, I'm in school. I'm starting the business on this day. Then I'll determine my pricing, how many days I got. Look, Eileen, you want to come on the channel to share your master plan so we can learn from you? I love it. I love it. And one thing I'll say about your business, charge what you know you are worth. And what I mean by that, not your self-worth, not your self-worth, but the problem you can solve, what you guarantee your clients can receive. What is that valued at? What does that mean? How much stress is that going to relieve? How much money is that going to save them? So think about the transformation you're going to provide for your clients and what you're going to relieve them of and charge your worth. And I say that because Black women, we are notorious. We are notorious for undervaluing ourselves. Stop that. Stop that, please. Anyone who values the service or the product that you provide, and anyone who's actually feeling pain from the problem that they currently have, and your product or service can solve their problem, they will pay what it's worth. Well, that's my reminder. VIP besties, I'm coming. They will pay what it's worth. And if they don't, you haven't lost anything. You haven't lost anything. You just need to find your people who's willing to pay what it's worth. It's that simple. And I say that from experience because I started off charging way too little. I started off charging way too little. I'm helping people become millionaires. I'm helping people relieve financial stress that they've been struggling with for years. And I started off charging $99. Black women value the service that you provide, and other people will value it too. And those who don't are not your people. And you don't have to be for everybody. That's okay. So make sure you are not undercharging whatever wonderful service you provide. And I know it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great. Ooh, Savannah says she's starting her fashion business now. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And one of the Wednesday live streams, we'll talk about y'all businesses and how we can share. Let's see. Miss Greta King had a comment, question. When researching Malaysia and Thailand, you could realistically mostly live on your Social Security and continue to grow your 401k and other investments. That is true, Miss King. That is true. It is very, very affordable in Southeast Asia. But like I said, just like in the United States, there are different costs of living. It depends on your quality of life and your standard of living. There are people here in Kuala Lumpur who pay $300 a month in rent. It's possible, but would you want to live in a place that's in that range? That's something you have to ask yourself, right? Um, and I only share that because I don't want anyone to assume that another place is really, really cheap because that's what they hear. That's what they hear the masses say. While Malaysia and Thailand are significantly less expensive than the United States, depending on your standard of living, it may or may not be as cheap as you think it is, right? So it depends on what your Social Security check may be. What's that on average? I think 1,200 to 1,500. Could you come to Malaysia and live on 1,500 a month? I don't think so. Especially if you're bringing your American standard of living with you. I don't think so. Is it possible? Yes. But is it something you would want that's comfortable? It depends. Could I? No. I couldn't live on a Social Security check in Malaysia. Thailand may be a little more realistic. Um, but even in Thailand, there are standards of living, right? I've seen a lot of videos on condo tours in Thailand, and they're the luxury condo tours. And you see them renting for like 500 a month, 600 a month. They're this small. They're like a matchbox. The couch is big enough for your booty and maybe another half booty cheek. When you walk in, the refrigerator is right there at the door. And in your bedroom, it's just enough room for your bed and nothing else. So you have to think about what will be comfortable for you and what it will cost to satisfy your comfort and your standard of living. You have to look a little beyond what the average people are saying. Like even in Indonesia is very affordable too. Bali. A lot of people say, oh, you can live in Bali on $1,000 a month. A lot of those people, they're just renting guest houses. A guest house is, to me, a guest house is like a hotel room where there's a bed, there's a desk, and there's a bathroom. Well, they're very, very nice and they're very, very clean, and they usually have housekeeping every day. So it's just like a hotel room. I would not want to live in a guest house. I would want space. I would want to feel like I have all the areas of a home. I don't want a shared kitchen. I would want my private pool. If I'm moving to Bali, I want what I envision Bali to be like as part of my real life. I don't want to be confined to one room and a desk. So while it's cheap, while it's possible to do, yes. But does that match your standard of living? You have to ask yourself that. And all of us, we have a different standard of living. All of those countries are significantly cheaper than the United States. But are they as cheap as other people make them seem when they're talking about how low you could go? Are you willing to live at that low standard? I'm not. So I have to add extra padding to come up to my standard. Once I come up to my standard, it's still less than what I paid in Washington, D.C., but it's not as cheap as what everybody is saying. That's all I want you to think about. It's what I want you to consider. Let's see. Any other questions? Been working since 14. Ooh, child, Jametta, you deserve to be retired, sis. Hey, Dr. Donna. What's up, girl? What's up, girl? Michelle, you said great point. I've been reading about fire since my late. Hey, this is a new name. Cosmic Wisdom. Okay. I've been reading about fire since I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I'm 40 now. I plan to retire at 50. Yes. Live on income from investments to 59 and a half when I can use my fund. Yes. I love your plan. I love your plan. So you prepared for the gap, right? Your gap between 50 and 59 and a half. So you have about a 10-year gap until you can access your traditional retirement accounts. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I'm just trying to help you learn how to determine how much you need for that gap, right? How much you need to fill that gap. So that's awesome. What's up, Dr. Donna? Love the money, babies. How you doing? How you been? VIP bestie. I'm coming. I'm coming. We're gonna wrap up in probably about 15 minutes here. Yes, yes, Janella. It depends on your lifestyle. Depends on your lifestyle. There are some apartments that I've seen here in Kuala Lumpur that are absolutely mind blowing. I mean, luxury that I have not seen in the United States. I mean, top notch technology, top notch security. And the rent is like $3,000. Would I pay that much? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I didn't leave the United States to pay you to come to Malaysia and pay US prices. Absolutely not. But it's beautiful. Now, if I came here with an employer, like my employer sent me here, yeah, I would probably want to lux and something like that because the employer is paying the per diem and the cost of living expenses. So that's different if you are becoming an expat because of your employer. But if you're retiring early and you're moving abroad, you want to maintain your same standard of living, like where I am now. This is about the standard of living that I'm comfortable with. There's some things about it I don't like, so I'm actually moving in a couple of weeks, but it met the basics, right? And even this is more than what the average cost is. But I haven't found a place that I'm willing to stay long term yet. Testing out different neighborhoods, different buildings, and watching a whole lot of YouTube videos. But the point is, the quality of life, your standard of living, it varies based on each individual, no matter what country you're in, right? Uh, let's see. It's been one of my worries, not putting enough value. Eileen, not putting enough value towards my time and knowledge for helping my potential clients. Yeah. My suggestion is don't promise anything that you can't deliver. And when you're making your promises to determine what value and what transformation you can help your clients experience, something that I read recently was teach to the level of what you have mastered, not the level of your success. Teach to the level of what you have mastered, not the level of your success. Once you've mastered it, you know with confidence that you can help other people realize the same results, right? And make sure you are charging appropriately. Do not undervalue yourself. Greta, when people are paying $2,500 per month in rent, I know I could have a monthly budget of at least $3,000 for all of my living expenses. Okay. Okay. And how do we know whether to focus? Hey, everyone, kind of late. You're never too late. Bajan, let's see. Ty, hey Ty. And how do we know whether to focus more on investing in our employer-sponsored 401k versus a personal brokerage account? That's a great question. It depends on your goal, right? It depends on your goal. You know, they say personal finance is personal, and this is why. Because let's say your goal is just to save for retirement and you plan to work until 59 and a half, right? And let's say your income was very high and you wanted to defer taxes for as long as possible, right? Then padding your employer-sponsored 401k would be the approach that you would take because your goal is simply traditional retirement and you want to reduce your taxable income, right? Now, another angle, let's say your goal is to retire early. Let's say your goal is to retire in your 40s, like I did, right? If your income is high enough to do both, you should do both because you want to reduce your taxable income and you want to start building your personal taxable brokerage account, right? But let's say you don't have enough income to do both, but retiring early is your goal. You're planning to retire in your 40s. You want to contribute enough to your employer-sponsored account to get the match. You always, always want to contribute enough to get the match. Never, ever leave free money on the table. That's a 100% return on your money. If you put in $500 and your employer matches $500, that's a 100% return on your money before it even touches the stock market, right? So never give away free money. Never walk away from free money. That's part of your total compensation package. But after the match, then you focus on the account that you're going to build up that's going to help you bridge the gap between when you retire early in your 40s to traditional retirement age. That's a gap that you're going to have to fund yourself. So after you are contributing the max, then you build up your personal brokerage account if retiring early is your goal. So I give those as two polar opposite examples to answer your question. But if your personal situation is neither of those things, we would have to get on a one-on-one and talk because it depends. It depends on what your goals are, right? There is no one right answer. It depends on your goals, right? All right. Last thing I want you to think about, and then we're going to wrap up, is how long, let's say you've decided how much your expenses are going to be. You subtracted your guaranteed sources of income. You subtracted about how much you think you could reasonably earn on your own. And then you use that number to calculate your FIRE number, right? You use that number to determine how much you really need to be free, right? Now, let's say now you have that number. It's going to be significantly lower than the number you probably originally thought. I guarantee you, right? Now, let's say you've been investing and now you're working towards that number. How long will it take you to get there? That's the last thing I want you to think about. How long will it take you to get there? I hear so many people never start because they think they'll never get there. They think it will take too long. They will think it's unrealistic. But here's my thoughts on that. Let's say it'll take you 10 years. If you're blessed to keep living, the 10 years are going to pass anyway. So either you can start working towards your ultimate goal that you're going to achieve in 10 years, or you choose to do nothing and never achieve that goal in 10 years, or you choose to do something else that's a short-term fix, and then you still are struggling and robbing Peter to pay Paul and chasing your tail and figuring out how to generate income and trying to do all the things in 10 years when you're too old to think about it. Do you want to be in your 60s and 70s trying to figure out how to create income? No. So if you have the time and the mental capacity to think about it now and start planning for it now, please do, because the time is going to pass anyway. The time is going to pass anyway. I would rather focus on a goal that's going to take me 10 years to achieve, and then when I get to that age, I can say, whoo, it's done. I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I started investing when I did in my late 20s, early 30s, because it affords the lifestyle that I have now. I don't have to worry about creating another source of income. When I'm 60, I don't have to worry about coaching. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to bridge the gap to cover my expenses. I don't have to worry about living in an environment that's less than the quality of life I prefer because this is all I can afford. It's because the Malika at 30 made decisions for Malika at 40. Malika at 30 wasn't selfish in thinking only about herself. Malika at 30 was thinking about what Malika at 40 would need. And Malika at 40 was thinking about what Malika at 50 would need. And because she thought about me, I'm able to live an easier lifestyle. Even moving abroad, where life isn't as stressful as it is in the United States, I still don't have to compromise anything because of what Malika at 40 did for me. Right? So thinking about today and only today and what you need for today, that's very, very short-sighted. And if you make financial decisions in a short-sighted way, you're always going to be chasing your tail. You're always going to be trying to figure out what's next. You're always going to be hustling. You're always going to be making financial decisions that may cause you emotional distress because you're always going to be figuring out where that next dollar will come from. But if you start making those long-term decisions now, when you have the runway for it, when you get to the end of that runway, you can exhale. You can exhale. Right? So how long will it take you to get to your freedom number based on all the things I told you to consider, right? First of all, you have to be investing. You have to be investing because you cannot work your way to freedom. If you're still working, you're not free. Even if you're working for yourself, if you have to do that work, you're not free. If it's something that you just truly enjoy and you do it because it's a passion of yours and it brings you joy, that's different. But could you walk away from it and you still be okay? Then you're free, right? But you can't work your way to freedom. And you also can't save yourself to freedom either. Interest rates right now are only paying at the maximum I've seen, 5.5%. But y'all saw that inflation report the other day, which by the way, sisters in my mastermind, y'all been seeing the gems I've been dropping and what we're going to be talking about in our next meeting? Yes. Interest rates about to start coming down, baby. That 5% that you've been seeing in your high yield savings account, that's going to start coming down. You can't save yourself to freedom either. You have to invest if you want to achieve freedom, right? And when I'm coaching, whether I'm coaching you in the road to 100K or I'm coaching you in Invest with Ease in my Sister Circle Mastermind, I encourage my clients to start investing and target 100K as their first goal. And the reason why I use 100K as your first goal is because that's the hardest. It's the hardest because it's an uphill climb. When you are targeting your first 100K, the majority of that is going to be your effort, is going to be your work. But again, think about it. We have a runway. We have a runway. There's light at the end of the tunnel when you can exhale. But the beginning is always hard. The beginning is always hard. I just started working out at the gym and lifting weights. It's hard as hell. The beginning of something new is always going to be hard. But like I said in my Instagram post, I said if the strength gains from lifting weights in the gym is as much as the capital gains from investing in the stock market, I know it's going to be life-changing. So I'm willing to do the hard work now. right? So the first 100K is always going to be hard. But, baby, hey, after you hit that first 100K, your money will start compounding on its own. That's when the growth explodes. And it's going to require less of your effort, and the money babies are going to take over and start compounding themselves. I'm going to show you a chart. I'm going to show you a quick chart. Hold on, let me pull it up. I'm going to show you a quick chart of the time it will take after you reach your first 100K, how fast it will compound on its own. Let's see. Let me share this chart. So I pulled this chart from compound interest calculator that I love to use on investor.gov. Investor.gov, it is a website that is managed by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, that oversee the U.S. stock market. Share, how do I share? Present. I did this before. Why do I always... There we go. Can y'all see that on my screen? Can y'all see that on my screen? Can you give me some feedback? Let me know in the comments. Can you see that on my screen? I'll try to make it. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Can y'all see that on my screen? Okay. What I'm showing you is the results of maxing out your Roth IRA, just simply your Roth IRA. For 2024, the Roth IRA limit is $7,000 if you're under age 50 and $8,000 if you are 50 and above. So using that $8,000 for the year, dividing it by 12 to get a monthly amount, I just plugged in some numbers, right? And what this chart shows is how your money will compound over time. So like I said, the first 100K is the hardest. Let me see if I can hover over this screen to point it out to you. I don't know if it's big enough. It looks big to me, but I don't know how big it is to you. But if you can see the lines here. So I used a 2% variance. The average stock market returns, if you're just passive investing and you don't continue learning and learn how to actively invest and earn more than what the market average return is about 10%. I included a 2% variance, so it's 12% above the blue line, the average is the red line, and the 2% below the variance is 8%. That's the green line at the bottom. But as you can see from the chart, it takes about starting from zero. And most of us on this live stream are not starting from zero, but starting from zero, ground zero, it will take about 8 years. It'll take about 8 years to reach your first 100,000. And like I said, that's the hardest because you are putting in all of the work. You're contributing to that Roth IRA every year. You're putting in all of the work, earning the average 10% return. It'll take about 8 years to reach that first 100,000 starting from zero. However, this is when your compound gains start taking over. This is when your growth will start exploding. After that first 100K that took you 8 years to build, you will grow that next 100K in only 4 years. After that second 100K, you will grow that next 100K in only 3 years. After that third one, you will grow the fourth one in only 2 years. And after the fourth one, you will grow the fifth one in only 1 year. Only 1 year. And after that, baby, like I said, my portfolio earns more than my annual salary when I was working a 9 to 5 job. So do not let the time discourage you, because as long as you're blessed to keep living, the time is going to pass anyway. And if you only focus on today and what you need right now, when that time passes and you get into your 60s and 70s, you're still going to be hustling and grinding. You're still going to be scrimping and saving. You're still going to be figuring out how to make another dollar in your 60s and 70s. Is that what you want for your golden years? So start focusing today on what you can do for the future you to make her life easier. You want a life of ease. You can't be selfish and only think about yourself today. You also need to think about how to make Eileen's life easier in 10 years, how to make Dominique's life easier in 10 years, how to make Greta's life easier in 10 years. Don't you want her to have a life of ease too? So the decisions that you make today, putting your money in the market and investing and doing the hard work in the beginning, so that in the future, Miss Greta in the future, Miss Jametta in the future, Miss Michelle in the future, Miss Tanya in the future can exhale and say, whew, I'm sure glad I did that, because I ain't got to worry about that no more. I ain't got to worry about doing this side hustle no more. I ain't got to worry about how to find clients anymore. I ain't got to worry about how to do these, whatever it is that you have to do to run your business. I ain't got to worry about none of that anymore. That's behind me now. You can coast into your traditional retirement years. But that all depends on the decisions that you make today and putting in the work to get there today, right? The time is going to pass anyway. The time is going to pass anyway, right? So as y'all know, I have 2 ways of helping you. If you don't know how to invest, if you don't know the strategies to invest properly, I've given you beginner-friendly tips on how to get started investing. The videos are right here on the channel. Free game right here on the channel. But if you want to grow beyond that, you want to build your first 6-figure portfolio, I have the road to 100K. Right now it's a course. I will do another live group challenge later this month. I'm still recovering, y'all. Y'all beat me up. Y'all beat me up, which I was in the group the other day answering questions, but I have the road to 100K course to teach you how to invest and build your first 6-figure portfolio. In fact, let me drop that. Let me drop that in the comments. Put that on the screen there and drop that in the comments. And for my sisters that already have 100K, but you want to grow that to 7 figures and beyond, then I have the Invest with Ease program and my Sister Circle Mastermind. Sisters in the Mastermind, I see you. I see you. And I can't wait to meet with you again. We're going to be talking about that Netflix issue. They boycotting Netflix because the co-founder donated $7 million to the Kamala Harris campaign. I'll talk about how that's going to impact Netflix stock, right? We have a Netflix guru in the mastermind that's going to give us her point of view right? Then we got some earnings that's coming out soon of my two favorite companies. We're going to do a deep dive into those earnings reports. We're going to do some fundamental analysis, right? I'm going to help you learn how to grow your portfolio to seven figures and beyond. I don't just do it for myself. I've helped other sisters in the mastermind realize their seven figure goals. And I do that in the Invest with Ease group coaching program. I will share that in the comments as well. Chanel, I've heard a lot of people say that. They said they canceled Netflix, but they about to resubscribe now. Yes. The Invest with Ease group coaching program, that one you do have to apply. You have to apply for the Invest with Ease program. I love my sisters in the mastermind, and I protect that group with everything in me because it requires a level of dedication to be in the community with us. You can't be willy nilly. You can't be, I might show up, I might not. You can't be, I think this is what I want, but I'm not sure. No, in the mastermind, we're all in. And that's why some of us are millionaires because we're all in. And once you hit that goal, you can take your foot off the gas and say, this feels good. This feels good. Even if you choose not to retire early, knowing that you can, having the option, having the freedom to choose, that's a flex. That's a flex. Okay. But yes, the Sister Circle Mastermind, you do have to apply to join. And I do schedule what I call a meet and greet with everyone that are selected based on their application. So I want to make sure you will be a good fit for the community because it's a beautiful community and I want to continue helping you grow. But in order to do that, I do have to protect the environment that we're in and make sure that you can grow with us. But yes, so those are the two ways that I can help you invest. And as I always say, I help you learn how to invest with ease. Because we don't do no hustling grinding. I don't believe in no hustling grinding in any aspect of my life. I'm not sitting at the computer all day long watching charts. I'm not sitting at the computer watching how a stock is going to move. I'm not jumping on, doing nothing 2 o'clock in the morning. Y'all know where I'm at. I ain't doing nothing 2 o'clock in the morning because a stock did something. I ain't doing all that. I teach my strategies on how to invest with ease. I share the links in the chat, I share them on the screen, and I will also leave them in the description of the video. So I'm going to go back now and look at your comments. If you found this video helpful, have you hit the like button yet? Have you hit the like button yet? If you have not, please do hit that like button to let me know that you enjoyed the video and also share it. Share it with your sisters who want to retire or retire early, but she doesn't think that she can, or she's not exactly sure how much money she needs to feel free, to feel comfortable walking away, to say, I'm done working. Share this video with her so she will not be discouraged based on other things that she may see on the internet. Let me check your comments, see what I missed, and then I'm going to wrap up here and go hang out with my VIP besties. Let's see. Compounded. Yes, Greta. Compound interest is your friend. Look, my money babies work harder than me. I work probably 15 hours a week. I spend 2 of those hours right here on the live stream with y'all. I'm working right now. This is work. This is work, right? Compound interest is your friend. It's the compound interest that really funds my lifestyle. Yes, I like this. You have to invest if you want to rest. Yes, brown sugar babe. Yes, I love that. Look, don't be surprised if I start using it. With credit, of course. You have to invest if you want to rest. I know y'all don't want to be in your 60s and 70s still working or still trying to figure out how to create income. Put your money to work now so that the money babies take over and do the work for you. Yes, Smash that like button, y'all. Smash that like button. Oops, I highlighted the wrong comment. But good night, Jametta. I see you. I see you, sis. Thank you for coming. Smash that like button. Yes. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. But all right, ladies, I'm gonna get out of here. If you found the video helpful, please hit the like button before you go and share the video with a friend. I thank you for watching. As always, whether you're watching me live or watching the replay, I appreciate you so much. But until next time, snatch your reparations from the stock market and stop hustling and grinding for money because you don't have to. But also remember, money is a tool. Freedom is the goal. All right. Bye for now.